Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to Wednesday. And today, all of the materials you need for a reading class will be your Do Now, your daily comprehension, your anchor chart, your composition book, and the circulatory story. So today we are going to start doing an anchor chart on inferences. Make sure you have that in front of you. Remember, I write, you write. I want to show you a quick video because we're going to be talking more and more about inferences. So make sure you're watching, you're slanting towards the screen.
You wrote a story? I looked around the packed theater. My knees were shaking and my heart was pounding in my chest. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. I pretended I was alone and played my violin. Great job, Moby. I really understood how nervous you were, even though you didn't say you were nervous. I made an inference. What is an inference? When you infer, you use clues and what you already know to come up with an idea. I've heard that sound before. It's thunder. Everyone's wearing rain boots and jackets and holding umbrellas, so I can make an inference that it's raining. I don't really know for sure that it's raining because I'm not outside, but the thunder and the rain gear are clues, so I can be pretty sure it is raining. How can I make inferences when I read fiction? Let's see. In this book, the tortoise and the hare have a race. The hare makes fun of the tortoise and says she's really slow. Instead of preparing for the race like the tortoise, the hare just talks about how great he is. During the race, the hare is so sure he'll win, he thinks he has time for a nap. And the tortoise wins the race. The way characters act can tell you about how they think or feel. The hare makes fun of the tortoise, brags a lot, and then falls asleep during the race. These clues tell me that the hare is kind of stuck up and thinks he'll win the race. The tortoise gets ready for the race, ignores the hare, and goes as fast as she can. These clues tell me that the tortoise is really determined. Authors use clues and details so they don't have to write everything in exact words, and figuring out how the characters feel can be exciting. But I can make inferences in all kinds of writing, not just fiction. How can I infer when I read nonfiction? Cool, here's a book about sea turtles. Leatherback sea turtles lay their eggs on land. One leatherback can lay over 100 eggs. I wonder why sea turtles lay so many eggs. You can use what you already know to make inferences. I know that seagulls like to eat baby sea turtles. And I know that the ocean has other hungry predators. I can infer that sea turtles lay a lot of eggs because most of them will not survive. You can also use what you observe to make inferences. Ew, I bet all that trash doesn't help the sea turtles. Maybe that's one reason why they're endangered. I guess making inferences is like being a detective. You look for clues and put them together with what you already know to come up with an idea. I guess I can infer that it's time for lunch. Hey, wait for me.
Okay, boys and girls, so let's go ahead and move on to our word web. So yes, inferences are very fun. Just like Moby described in the video, Sometimes I say, oh my goodness, I walked into a classroom and I was shaking and I couldn't talk. And you could already start inferencing, boys and girls, that I was super nervous. Maybe it was my first day of school. Maybe it was my first year of teaching, which that was 3 years ago. So yeah, I'm not telling you that I'm scared or that I was nervous. I gave you clues. So that's what the author does. And today that's what we're going to be focusing on. So let's go ahead and look for the word scab. Okay, so according to our dictionary or glossary in the back of the book, scab is a natural covering that is formed by the body after a cut. You can also write a scab gives a wound time to heal. So I'm going to go ahead and give you 1 minute. You can go ahead and copy the second definition. Remember, there's two. There's one that says a natural covering that is formed by the body after a cut. And the second one is a scab gives a wound time to heal. So you have 45 seconds to copy that. You could also draw a little scab. And right now we're not writing any antonyms. You have 30 seconds. So a scab gives a wound time to heal. Remember, stops the bleeding from coming out. And it's a natural covering. Your body does it natural. So if you cut yourself or you fall or something, you're going to get a little scab. You have the last 10 seconds. And time is up. Let's go ahead and move on. So we are starting lesson 16. So students will be able to infer using textual evidence. Boys and girls, look at these key points. So what are we going to do? We're going to form an inference based on what the author wrote, just like Moby described. Or if I tell you, oh my goodness, I walked into the classroom, my stomach felt like it had a bomb inside of it. I couldn't talk. I was shaking. You could already start inferencing or concluding or saying the most likely reason is because Ms. Alvarado was probably nervous. It was probably her first day of school, her first time teaching in front of students. So look at how you're going to see it in your STAR test, and you're also going to see it in your BWA. The reader can tell that blank, or what is the most likely reason. All they want you to do, boys and girls, is to infer. How are we going to do that? Remember, it's very important that you identify the genre. You label print and graphic features. You gather important information through the text, and you draw conclusions. And 5 and 6 is very important. You use textual evidence to support your inference or conclusion. And what are you doing? You're building background knowledge. So let's go ahead and move on. So I know yesterday we read pages 34 through 37. And we read a section called Heart to Heart. Remember the exchange? So I want to give you an inference. Let's see if you could already start inferences. Remember, you're building background knowledge based on what the author told you. A good reader can infer based on the details in the text. So I know that the heart is a muscle. I know the author told me that. Using muscles makes them stronger. I know that's true because maybe your mom, your dad, your uncle, maybe even your sister or your brother, they go to the gym. And why do they go to the gym? Well, because they want their muscles to be stronger, right? So what can we infer about the heart muscle and movement? Remember, boys and girls, the heart is a muscle. And if you work your muscles, they get stronger. So what can we infer about the heart muscle and movement? Can we say that it doesn't matter? No, right? Because the author told me the heart is a muscle. And I know that the muscles get stronger the more that I use them, right? So I could infer, what can we infer, boys and girls? We can infer that with more movement, our heart gets stronger. Yes. So that's why it's very, very important that you keep active. You run around maybe your block. You do any type of video that coach posts, because remember, we're trying to get your heart stronger because that could lead to a healthier you. Okay, boys and girls, so let's go ahead and start doing an anchor chart. Remember, anchor charts are very, very useful. Whenever you have any questions, you can just come and look up anything you need here. So let's go ahead and find the page that says making inferences. So it is behind creating mental images, and we are going to do this one very, very soon. But for now, I want you to focus on the one that says making inferences. So if you have a highlighter with you, you may use. So boys and girls, these are the how. So I know that how are the steps. So remember, I write, you write. So these are the steps. And I know step number 1 tells me to identify print and graphic features. So I'm going to circle that. I'm going to identify print and graphic features. So print features is anything like bold print, italics, or anything that is underlined. A graphic feature is anything like a heading, maybe an illustration, cutaway, a diagram, a close-up. So I can put all the examples here and that's fine. I'm only going to focus on some so that I remember what they are. Step number 2 is to identify the genre. So I need to identify the genre. What are some examples of genre, boys and girls, that we've been reading? We've been reading about biographies, and the circulatory story is a real text. So it's an informational. Remember, informationals give you information. Step number 3 is to gather relevant details throughout the text. That is anything that I see important. So I'm going to put here any important information. So anything that I know is very, very important. Step number 4 says draw conclusions. I'm going to underline that because I know that I need to make an inference based on the text. I'm going to go ahead and highlight so you can see it a little better. Step number 5 says use textual evidence to support the inference or conclusion. So I know this one, boys and girls, I need to use textual evidence. And I know that this little plus sign means textual evidence because we've been using that in our main idea. And you don't only use textual evidence for main idea, you use it also for inferences. You also use it to prove your answer. So we always use textual evidence, boys and girls. And step number 6 says you build background knowledge. So that makes us smarter. We're building background knowledge. And I want you to look right here because I did this little, I'm going to move it just a little bit up. I did this kind of like a detective. So remember, when I infer, so remember, I write, you write, I am a detective. You're looking for clues, anything the author told you. So remember, if I give you this example, so let me zoom out so that you can see that. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes to write this. So you're writing while I'm talking. So for example, if I say, it is dark outside. I hear thunder. All of a sudden, I hear bloop, bloop, bloop. Boys and girls, what's happening? What's happening outside? It's raining, right? It's probably raining cats and dogs because if I hear thunder, then it's raining really hard, right? But did I say it's raining really hard? No, I described to you what I saw. It was gloomy, and then I told you what I heard, which I heard thunder, and then I also told you that I heard the little bloop, bloop, bloop. Putting all those clues together, boys and girls, you know that it's raining. I didn't tell you that. I gave you clues. You were a detective. You were listening. So you have 1 minute left to copy this. anytime, boys and girls, you have a question, make sure you refer back to your anchor charts because your anchor charts are very, very important and they guide you. So these are the how-to steps. That's why we didn't write them down today because you have your anchor chart. 45 seconds left. If you are finished, turn the page around and find the other page that also says making inferences. So these are the steps on the how. Now we're going to look at the what. You have the last 25 seconds. $15 seconds. 10. 'Remember, if you didn't have time to copy this, you can always rewatch the video or pause it at any time. Okay, and time is up. Let's go ahead and flip the page over. And then now we're going to start looking at this one. This one is also about making inferences. But this is going to be your what am I doing? So I'm going to write here what and a question mark. So the other one was a how-to steps, the step by step by step. This is a what am I doing? So this is more like big picture. So it's a generalization. For example, it could be about real life. So I know that if it's gloomy outside and I tell you I hear thunder, a generalization could be, well, and I know that in real life it happens when it's raining, right? Or it's about to rain. A prediction is something that's going to happen. So I'm going to write here what's going to happen. So if I say, oh my goodness, boys and girls, there is a student who is running outside without shoes and there's a bump in the road and I don't think they've seen it, but they're not paying attention to where they're running. They're looking back. What can you already start predicting? You can start predicting that probably that person or that student or that child is going to fall, right? Because they're looking backwards. They're not looking to where they're running towards. And you know that's just an accident waiting to happen, right? So you're predicting that he or she is probably going to fall, right? Now, textual evidence. Remember, textual evidence comes from text. An assertion is a fact or a statement. We don't really use those in 4th grade. You might be using them maybe in 5th or 6th grade, but it's just something that I want you to be familiar with. It's a fact. It's a statement. For example, the red blood cells carry oxygen. That's an assertion. That's a fact. It's a statement. Text analysis. This is when you reread the text, or it could be also a section. Remember, good readers always go back and reread. Even Miss Alvarado goes back and rereads because sometimes I read too fast and I don't understand. So I need to take a break, pause, go back, reread, do my annotations, and then I understand it. Drawing conclusions. So this one is where I'm going to give you synonyms for the word conclusion. So you can see infer. They also say tell, conclude. So those are all synonyms of the word conclusion. Conclusion, conclude, infer, tell. They also use the word most likely. That means you have to find context clues to see what is the most likely reason that that child was looking back. Why were they looking back? How come they weren't looking forward? There's a big crack on the road. They're going to fall. And the author might tell you, well, they were running away from somebody. Okay, I want you to do a little arrow next to making inferences, and I want you to write, what does the author want me, capitalize me, to know, but didn't tell me? So what does the author want you to know, But they didn't tell you. I didn't say, boys and girls, it's raining outside. Instead, I used context clues. I said, it's rumbling. I can hear the sky. I can see that it's very gloomy. And then I hear the bloop, bloop, bloop. How come I didn't just tell you that? Well, it's just context clues and makes the story more interesting. And it's something that makes the students smarter. So let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit, and I will give you time to copy it, don't worry. So from text, I want you to write here, key ideas come from text, while details come from, details are textual evidence. I'm going to write a little plus sign here. And all these two things, boys and girls, from the text and textual evidence equals bank of knowledge. That means I'm getting smarter. I'm preparing myself for 5th grade. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out. I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 minutes in case you weren't able to finish. I'm going to put the timer on. Remember, everything I write, you write. Remember, if you don't have two color highlighters or color pens, that's fine. I just want to make sure that I am doing it like this so that you can tell the difference between everything, because I have to write really big for students to see. You don't have to write this big. As long as you know that an inference is a clue the author gives you, but doesn't tell you. Yeah, the last minute. $50 seconds. $30 seconds. Remember, if you don't finish this, you can always just rewatch the video, pause the video, come back at a later time. The video stays here. They don't go anywhere. Especially if you watch them through YouTube. They stay there forever. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. 'And park your pencils. Okay, boys and girls, so let's go ahead and start reading. So, fighting plague. Oh, I know this whole section is going to be about the plague, right? And I don't think it's talking the one in our teeth. It's probably talking about the one where? Based on the illustration, it's probably near my heart, maybe in an artery. So let's start reading. Oh no, look at that stinky gunk on the walls of the coronary artery. It's plague. No, not the kind that can build up in your teeth. The plague in arteries is a fatty substance. An unhealthy diet, especially lots of fatty foods, can cause plague to build up in people's arteries, which can lead to a clog in the coronary arteries. Think of the pipes below your kitchen sink. If too much gunk builds up, the water can't pass through the pipes, then it's time to get plunger. So, boys and girls, what is this whole section about? Is it about a who? Person. Or is it about a what? A topic. It's about a topic, right? So I know that I need my journal. Remember, we're going to label it lesson 16. And we're going to start writing here. Remember, we're going to do the same thing we did yesterday. So we're in lesson 16. Your name, date, and go. Remember, we are going to fold it halfway like this. Like a little hot dog. And I'm going to put here the section name. Okay, so let's go ahead and start writing. Boys and girls, remember, we're going to do our hashtag. So finding faith. What is this section about? So let's see. Oh no, look at that stinking gunk on the walls of this coronary artery. It's plaque. No, not the one that can build up in your teeth. This plaque in arteries is a fatty substance. An unhealthy diet, especially lots of fatty foods, can cause plaque to build up in people's artery, which can lead to a clog in the coronary artery. Think of the pipe below your sink. If too much gunk builds up, water can't pass through the pipes. Then it's time to get plunger. So here I see, ew, look at this unhealthy food. And look at how this green creature is like, scram. He's saying, stay away. I'm not going to eat you. And then look what it looks like. So the author is showing you with this illustration or diagram that this is what it looks like. It gets stuck to your arteries, right? And it's yucky, and it's ew, and it's plague, and it's nasty. So should we be eating fatty food every single day, boys and girls? No, right? The author is trying to convince me or tell me and show me that you shouldn't be doing that. So here I'm going to start writing. The main idea of this section with a hashtag is about the coronary arteries. So I'm going to write here coronary arteries. So, oops, we forgot to write our questions. The who or what and the what about it. That's how good we're getting, boys and girls, so we forget to write that. So second one is what about them? What happens? The author is telling you what? If you eat fatty food, it's going to do what? It's going to gunk them up, right? It's going to cause not for your everything to function correctly in your body. So let's put in here. So I'm going to put too much fatty food. What did the author say too much fatty food was? Not good, right? So I'm going to put hashtag not good. What can it do to your arteries, boys and girls? So look what it says. Can cause plaque to build up in people's arteries. So I'm going to put that here. Plaque can build up in people's arteries. That's what the section is about. I have a who or what and what about it. That was easy peasy because I asked myself those two questions. We have the last 15 seconds. If you are done, you can go ahead and turn the page so that we can start reading the next one. Alrighty, so the next one looks like this. Thanks! Crunch, crunch. Oh, boys and girls, look, what is he eating? An apple, right? So here the author is showing me that you should be eating what? Healthy foods. Adults with lots of plaque in their coronary arteries are at risk of having a heart attack. Some of this nasty plaque may prevent the blood from reaching the heart cells. Without oxygen, these cells become damaged. When this happens, a doctor has to unclog that artery. Treating your heart will help prevent heart trouble. 2 heart smart ideas are to eat right and to exercise. This way, the heart can be buff and healthy. This advice is straight from the heart. Boys and girls, is it literally from the heart? Did your heart tell you to eat right and exercise? No, right? It's a figurative language, figure of speech. So I'm going to go ahead and write here. We stayed off on page 37, and it's the same section. So we don't have to write anything else. We are going to share in class the hashtag that you wrote for that section. Remember, we're inferencing. What did the author tell you in the text? You have to be a detective. What does he want you to know? What inference can we make?